Topic number 2 on Jimmy Garoppolo. He said something else. Cam Inman asked a very interesting question. I guess we all forgot because it was 6 months ago, but Cam remembered and said, hey, Jimmy, what'd you think about the 49ers admitting that they considered signing Tom Brady this offseason? And Jimmy, well, to me, if this had happened to Alex Smith and he had to answer that question, he might have said the right thing, but you would have seen the pain and anguish in his face and maybe the lack of self-confidence. If it was Colin Kaepernick, you might have seen some anger in his face. But Jimmy, he laughed. He was like, I really wasn't that concerned about it. I know it's part of the business. And what I came away from it was not just how cool he is, but how confident he is. And I've never covered a quarterback as confident as him.
Also, how honest he is.
Honest.
Seems like an honest guy. Again, I've never met him. I knew Alex pretty well. I like Alex very much. But this is, what I would say, Iggy, it's a quarterback's temperament. They're supposed to be confident. They're supposed to shrug things off. I mean, they have people running after them to take their head off. Yeah. And they have to get up and do or make a pass or get knocked down and do the next play. I think that Joe Montana was very much that way. Yeah. I want to call it almost an emotional detachment. Yes. And an emotional detachment. Confidence. One time I did an article, decades ago, and Randy Cross said something brilliant about Joe Montana. He said he plays football in the third person.
I can totally understand what that means. Yes.
Yeah. UCLA, Iggy. He went to UCLA.
It's like he's detached from his own body when he's playing.
Exactly. Yeah. He's watching himself play and he's narrating it for himself. And Randy, it was one of the most brilliant lines I ever heard. He plays in the third person. I'm going to tell you one other thing about Joe. And I imagine this applies to Garoppolo. One time when Joe was the quarterback, I said, when you get the ball, among all the things you're thinking about and feeling, what do you see? The first thing Joe Montana said, out of my vision, while I'm looking for my receivers to open up, I see that the uniform, the color of the defense's uniform coming toward me. And when they begin to mingle with my color, I knew I have to get the ball out.
Wow, he really was detached.
He was thinking about colors.
And other quarterbacks might feel like when I'm about to get murdered is when I need to throw the ball. But him, it was just a color thing. Wow.
Color. The colors are too merged now. I better get rid of it because the colors will be on me soon. And
it sounds like his heart rate was probably like in the 70s. It was so relaxed. It's a color thing.
Iggy, you like that color thing, right?
I love that. And I want to talk about the quarterback's demeanor, because to me, Alex Smith didn't have it. He was quarterback as Hamlet. He was constantly doing the to be or not to be in the to throw or not to throw. Is he open? What if I throw it and it's intercepted? What if I don't throw it? That was I loved Alex Smith, but I don't think of him having the quarterback's demeanor. And then with Colin Kaepernick, I thought of him on the other end of the spectrum. He almost had like a wide receiver's demeanor. It would take things personal, would get the red butt as it were. I mean, to me, he was like a diva wide receiver, which is another thing. I mean, he just didn't really have the quarterback's great athlete, but not really like Jimmy. It's interesting to cover someone like I've never done it.
I'll tell you another quarterback who has that, let's call it mindset, Brady.
No question.
Brady. He seems like he's prepared for anything. Yes. No, if it goes bad, he's prepared for that.
Yes. And the more that
continues to play.
No question. No question. And the more that Jimmy plays, the more he reminds me of Brady. Really. The way they talk, the way they handle the media. He really did study Brady's everything, every move, and did his best to recreate it. And I think that's why the Patriots still kind of want him, are still looking at what's going on over here, because he's a perfect fit in the Patriots offense. And I think Kyle Shanahan's doing a better job at building his offense around what Jimmy does well. And you can see that by all the yards after the catch, guys.
So I love what you're saying, that Garoppolo is a Brady acolyte. He's the next generation of Brady.
No question.
You know what? The Niners were in a pretty good position in the offseason. They could have had Brady or the Brady acolyte. And that's a pretty good school to be from, Iggy. I mean, people are not New England fans around here, but that's a very well-run organization. And that quarterback, I mean, people talk about him in the same sentence as Joe Montana. I don't mean Garoppolo, I mean Brady.
Yeah, and so it's really been on Kyle Shanahan to adapt to Jimmy, because just like Brady, what Jimmy and Brady do really well is stand in the shotgun and survey the defense before the play, make a decision of where the ball's going to go before the play, and get the ball out of their hands instantly. On the Niners, Shanahan wants his quarterback under center. So it's harder to read the defense instantly. It's harder to, you kind of have to read it during the play. So Shanahan has done a better job of putting more shotgun in his offense, making Jimmy more comfortable, and he's really good doing the New England stuff.
I got one more thing to say about Jimmy. When he laughs and says it's part of the business, first of all, it's over with, so there's nothing to worry about. But I think he's also saying, if it came down to it, I'd compete with Brady.
I agree. I think he genuinely believes he's better than Tom Brady.
Yeah. And
I think we'll keep going.
Well, we do interrupt each other sometimes. We get excited.
I'm sorry.
What I was going to say about Garoppolo, if he thinks he can compete with Brady, and I think he does, God love him. That's exactly the mentality you want in a quarterback.
Absolutely. And I think he feels, geez, if the Niners want Brady more than me, I think the Patriots would love me. So, hey, if you guys want to make a bad decision, that's on you. I don't know if it would be a bad decision, but from his perspective, it is. So I love that mentality about him.
Iggy, do you like to cover Jimmy?
Yes and no. I really like his mentality, and I enjoy being in the same room as him. But he still has a little bit of the Patriots mentality, like residual holdover, where he just can't help but not answer your question. He smiles, he uses complete sentences, and he'll go on for 3, 4, 5 sentences, but he doesn't answer it. I mean, he tries, but it's basically like the vaguest stuff you've ever heard, and it must be what they require from their players in New England. It must be tough to get out of that mindset.
You know what I would do if I were covering him? I would say, well, thank you.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, thank you for answering, but I don't really think you answered it. What did you mean by it? Could you try again? But
the thing about him is, keep going.
I don't advocate you doing that, by the way.
No.
I don't advocate you doing that.
With Colin, it was clear that he was very bright and just being rude to us. Like, hey, I know you guys want quotes. I'm not going to give it to you. I don't like you.
Yeah,
with Jimmy, he makes it seem like he's trying his hardest. And it's the absolute best he can do. And it's like, okay, Jimmy, well, you didn't say anything. And you said at the end of the day a million times and all the cliches, but he did it with a smile and he looked you in the eye. So it's you're like, okay, man, you tried. But I see what you mean. It's like, come on, man, you could do better than that.
Yeah, but I don't advocate you doing that.
I make fun of him a little bit, and during the season, I take his blandest quote of the week and call it the Jimmy Garoppolo quote of the week. And maybe if he gets on Twitter, he'll notice that I'm ribbing him a little bit and try a little harder. But that's about the extent of my critique.
Hasn't he blocked you?
Yes, but he unblocked me, to his credit.
Whoa. Are you blocked by anyone there still?
Nick Bosa blocked me. Nick Bosa blocked me when he was in college. I was doing a video breakdown just of his strengths and weaknesses. It was nothing about his character, just his strengths and weaknesses as a player. I think someone sent it to him and he blocked me. But in person, I don't think he knows who I am, and he always answers my questions. But online, people are very sensitive, Dad.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Bosa likes you, but he doesn't know you're the guy on Twitter.
Exactly. And I'm not going to tell him. He doesn't have to figure that one out himself.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Dante Pettis blocked me and unblocked me, which I gave him credit for that too, because I feel like if you're smart, you realize it's a real weak move to block a beat writer.
It's very weak.
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 Weak.